Welcome to Holstein Connections, where we share the latest stories, insights, and news from Holstein Association USA and beyond. The largest dairy cattle breed association in the world, Holstein Association USA provides leadership, information, and services to help dairy producers worldwide be successful. Whether you're in the barn, on the road, or just tuning in for your dose of dairy news, we're glad you're here. This is Holstein Connections. Hello, Holstein enthusiasts, and welcome to our very first bonus episode of the podcast. Today, we're covering details for the Holstein Horizons educational speaker sessions being held on Tuesday, June 23rd at the upcoming National Holstein Convention in Orlando, Florida. And joining me for the episode is Jodi Hoynoski. So, Jodi, to kick things off, give us an overview of what Holstein Horizons is.
So traditionally, the National Holstein Convention, people think of a very busy schedule of contests and business meetings. And we created Holstein Horizons because we really wanted to add some space that is preserved for education and networking for our members, youth and adults alike.
So this year's theme is small investments, big returns. What kind of returns can people expect to walk away from the day with?
So we really want them to get tips and tools that they can implement, whether it's on their farm or in their lives the second they get home. So just like the theme says, small investment with big returns, there's some small things that they can do that can have a big impact on their bottom line. And we want to help identify some of those that they can put to work.
So really a way for our members to get some actionable things that they can take home with them and start applying and using right away when they return from their trip to Orlando. So I know it was a group effort. There was a team of us working to develop speaker sessions and topics for the day. What goals did we focus on as a team when coming up with the theme and the topics for this year's educational speaker sessions at Holstein Horizons?
So as we've heard from convention attendees over the years, our group loves all things, one, genetics, and two, technology. So we wanted to make sure we hit those two topics. And then we talked about, what's a topic that we are all struggling with right now, something that's current, that's a struggle that we can help people with. And we pretty quickly came to the topic of labor. So those are kind of the three things we're hitting on: genetics, technology, and labor.
And I think they're all very timely topics of things going on in our industry today. So the very first session will be starting at 8:30, a talk sponsored by Zoitis with the Beating the Heat with Genomics with Dr. Dan Weigel. What is the focus of this presentation?
So in April, there were two new traits introduced around heat resilience that are going to help our producers improve reproduction and milk production in times of heat stress. Bonus here, Dan is a registered Holstein guy from Iowa. So he's going to be bringing some real grit to this presentation of how you can put it to work.
Yeah, Dan has some great hands-on experience and practical experience of his own too. So I know that will be a great way to kick off our morning and something that's enjoyed by our attendees. We're also going to have a producer panel then that's focused on maximizing profit through genetic investments. That's the next one in our lineup at 9 o'clock this morning. Tell us a little bit about who's joining in on that panel and what we can expect there.
Yeah, so we've got Corey Geiger lined up to moderate the panel, and the panelists will include Craig Carncross from Wisconsin, Ashley Swenson from Minnesota, and Kyler Johnson from Georgia.
What sort of key takeaways do you expect attendees will be able to gain from the session?
Well, first and foremost, moderated by Corey Geiger. He's a moderator extraordinaire. So, he's going to bring out the best here. We can trust him in that. Craig, his perspective will come a lot from down on the farm with how he's investing in genetics, cow families, mating decisions, how he's getting the most for his investments. Ashley brings an interesting perspective because she comes from a farm, but also is involved in reproductive technology, ET and IVF work. So I think she's going to have some good advice for folks on, if you're going to go that route, how to make the right decisions. And then Kyler Johnson, he is genomic testing everything on his farm down in Georgia. So he is going to talk about how he utilizes genomic testing results as his superpower on the farm.
Lots of different perspectives and different things that they'll bring to the table there, I'm sure. So, something when we were coming up with this schedule, we're also mindful that people want to connect with each other during conventions. So, we also have some scheduled networking breaks strategically built into our day. The first one will be after this panel. So, what will be available for people to do during those networking break times that we have slotted, Jodi?
Yeah, so I just read an article recently tailored to meeting planners, and it was talking about how, as meeting planners, we're always trying to find the right speaker, the right fit, and, make the investment in the right speakers. And it was talking about how actually you want to be rewiring your brain to think about how we can put more free time into our meeting schedules, because that's what people really come for, is to connect. So that's what we want to do with these breaks during Holstein Horizons Day, is to give them an opportunity to connect and network with their fellow attendees. Again, both youth and adults alike. So I would invite them. A great place to do that is going to be at our new Holstein Hub this year. So outside of the main meeting and eating space, we're going to have this Holstein Hub area that is going to be a bustling networking area. It's going to be the home to our popular dairy bar, so they can come grab a dairy snack while they're out there on break. And we're also going to have a more casual version of a trade show. So our convention sponsors will be set up with just a casual little high top table. So it'd be a good time to snag a conversation with any of our participants there. So Holstein Horizons is going to be a great day, but take advantage of those breaks and come check out the Holstein Hub.
Yeah, that'll definitely be a great place for our attendees to network and connect with each other. So then back in the Holstein Horizons room at 10:30, we'll have Dr. Jeffrey Bewley sharing his expertise around technology investments that pay off. What sort of practical insights would you expect attendees to gain from this session with Jeffrey?
Yeah, so what I'm most excited about in Jeffrey's talk is he's going to cover some guidance and tips on how to analyze if a technology investment is right for you. A lot of times there are technologies that are pretty significant investments, and you want to make sure it's going to pencil out at the end of the day. But then again, there are also some things out there that you could do for pretty modest investment that do have potential for some decent returns. So Jeffrey's going to give us some good guidance on how to analyze that.
Yeah, certainly a lot to consider when you're thinking about making some of those investments, and Jeffrey does a great job walking through it and really explaining how to find what the right fit for your farm and your operation is. So next up, we'll have a session that will be sponsored by Merck Animal Health titled Redefine the Future of Your Herd with Glacio Lopez. What's the focus of this talk?
So Merck has been around the block for a while on animal health monitoring space. And, they've done a great job on the cow side. And now they're starting to get into young stock monitoring. And so Glaucio is going to bring forward some of the things that they're learning, that they're working on, and some of the benefits of what we can learn through having individual animal monitoring on our young stock.
Definitely getting into some of their newer technologies and things that they're bringing to the table for our farmers as well. So then we'll break for lunch. So Jodi, what sort of discussions do you hope that people will be having over lunch? If you had to plant the seed for one conversation starter at every table, what would that be?
So my favorite question to ask people is, what is an app or a podcast that you are enjoying these days? Because I love the diversity of answers I get when I ask that question. And again, that's something that I can take home and check out tomorrow.
I love that. Hopefully the Holstein Connections podcast will be a common answer we see there. All right, Jodi. So Holstein Horizons will be back then at 1 p.m. after that lunch break when Liz Griffith will lead a session titled Building Strong Teams Through Intentional Leadership. What will Liz's session cover that afternoon?
So Liz is going to be talking about the intentional leadership topic through a labor lens, right? So everything from recruitment to retention and all the little things you can be doing along the way in your daily life that can help your operations recruitment and retention.
And then as part of that, Liz will also be moderating a panel that's again focused on labor and leadership strategies for success. Who's going to be on this panel and what sort of experiences do they bring to the table?
Right. This panel will be moderated by Liz, and the panelists will include Joey Arosa from California, Mariah Bry from Wisconsin, and Ruben Chapman from Georgia. And what I'm most excited about this panel is the diversity. We've got a wide geographic diversity, a variety of sizes of operations, operation types, what they're focusing on. I think we're going to get some interesting tips here too on some little things that they are doing to help their farms' recruitment and retention efforts.
Absolutely. And then after another break where you can go check out that Holstein Hub area with the dairy bar and the trade show, we'll be wrapping up a session focused on growing your Holstein business online with Annie Rundy. What sort of practical insights do you expect attendees to gain from Annie's presentation?
Yeah, I'm excited for Annie to give this presentation. I'm proud that she is a member of this Young Dairy Leaders Institute class. And at our session last February, we talked a lot about building your brand. And Annie's going to lean into that here with this presentation and really focusing on building your brand online and in social media. And I think she's going to bring some interesting tips for all levels of experience and interest, whatever your comfort level is. If you're just dipping your toe in the water, or if you're, really a social media guru, I think she's going to have something for everyone here.
And again, another topic that I think is very timely for our attendees to be listening to today. So thanks so much for that overview of our speakers and our schedule for the day. Jodi, this is a bonus episode, so we're going to keep it short, but if you had to give people one reason to attend Holstein Horizons, what would that reason be?
Bang for your buck. If you're going to make the investment in traveling to the National Holstein Convention, it just makes sense to come and attend and make the most of your investment of your time and your travel. It is the day right before annual meeting, so if you're coming in for annual meeting, you just tack on one extra day. The sale is going to be that night. It's going to be a fun day. So I come back to, and it almost ties into the theme of our Horizons Day, right? Small investments, bigger returns. I think people coming to Holstein Horizons are going to get a good bang for their buck.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us today, Jodi.
Thanks, Emily.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Holstein Connections. Whether you're in the barn, on the road, or just tuning in for your dose of dairy news, we're glad you're here. Until next time, this is Holstein Connections.